Welcome to episode 27 of The Leap Home, Pool Hall Blues.
In this week's episode, Sam must defy his lack of skill to win a pool contest with a rival in order to allow his granddaughter to clear the debt over her business. With all alternatives exhausted or unpalatable, Sam must use Ziggy's aid to defeat his opponent, or risk seeing his granddaughter lose either her business or her integrity. But can he make the winning shot? Or will the angles conspire against him?
Oh, what a criticism. Pythagoras, we are going to shoot some pool.
Good afternoon, Ian. How are things?
Yeah, not too bad, Gerry. How are you?
Not too bad. Been shooting a bit of a pool.
Have you?
Yes and no. I played a few frames about 2 weeks ago for the first time in 3 or 4 years.
Did you win?
I did win, actually, yeah.
Were you playing a small child?
No, it's cheating. No, you never lose. Well, you do lose it. That's a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you a pool fan yourself?
In my youth, I played a fair amount of pool. Haven't for some time.
Yeah. Not the American variety.
Not the 9-ball game. Played the old 8-ball pool. Had my own stick.
Did you?
Yeah. Q, I would call it, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're a big fan of Q Sports, but we're not going to talk about any snooker in this episode.
We probably will.
For 1 week, there's no creepiness from Sam as well.
They must have looked at the previous week and went, no, we need to give him a granddaughter.
Yeah.
Even then, we're not too sure.
Just make sure he doesn't go full Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, they had to keep him away from any sort of love interest.
Just
rightly so.
1 hour at least.
I was listening again when I was doing the edit to last week's and his really inappropriate behaviour. And it's weird that prior to starting this podcast, I think the general assumption isn't it, that Al was the sort of pervy guy.
That's the prevailing view, I think.
Sam's the boring geek.
Straight guy, yeah.
It's not. I'm far more understanding and accepting of Al. He's just a man of his time. He's a bit of a rascal, a bit of a dirty old man. But you know where you are. You wouldn't feel. I don't think you would feel afraid of Al. Sam, on the other hand, is the type of guy, if he gets rejected, that you could see him, being an abusive partner and, doing all sorts of stuff, not taking it very well.
We already saw in the theatre episode that he didn't react well to things not going his way.
Mm-hmm. I'd be far happier being married to Al. And knowing that he's probably going to cheat, but you know what? I'll be in the open. We'll leave in good terms. But with Sam, if you didn't reciprocate that love when he wanted you to, or
he'd
how
try manipulating you.
Yeah. He'd be quite abusive mentally and potentially physically as well.
Well, let's not go too far.
But yeah.
If you don't agree with Gerry's views, you can get in touch on social media, assuming Twitter still exists. We are at Leap Home Podcast there and on Instagram. We're at The Leap Home on Facebook, and you can find show notes for the episodes on theleaphome.com.
What are we going to do if Twitter goes down the tubes?
I'll just stick to Instagram and Facebook, I suppose.
Right. The website.
We're not getting a masturbated on, whatever it is.
No, we're not. Right.
Masturbaton.
Okay.
I don't know. Or you can chat to us on YouTube, I suppose, where every episode is available 1 week early on the Columbo Podcast Productions channel. Also review us, please. Thank you.
Finished?
I'm done. Shall we talk about Quantum Leap?
Let's break off.
No. Say it properly.
Let's crack on.
Same intro as last week. Let's not mention it.
Nope.
In a pool hall, Sam arrives right in the middle of a game. He's about to play a shot and is immediately challenged by a young man with a bit of cash and a bit of an attitude.
Yeah, let's set the scene. He is wearing glasses, a shirt and what we would call a pork pie hat, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's an American
I suspect not.
term as well. As you say, he's leaning over the pool table and is referred to as an old man by his opponent. I think his name's Lester.
It is. Yeah, Sam seems a bit hesitant, which seems to irritate Lester, and he bets $300 that Sam can't make the shot.
Yeah. Now, Sam, he's looked around, he's trying to take in his surroundings, obviously he's a bit discombobulated, but we see some onlookers, they're laughing, in what appears to be a bar of predominantly black people, and it's got a 50s feel.
It certainly does.
And as you say, Lester puts more pressure by laying down $300 on his next shot, and then another 100 when Sam asks which ball he's shooting at. Now, you would think that, you're being hustled at this point.
Well, I think we're about to get that resolution. The amused folk nearby tell Sam he'll never make that 8 ball, which clears up his dilemma on what he's aiming at.
Yeah, he gets down on it, but he's got terrible technique. Now, this is obviously just from us being sort of Q Sport fans, but his bridge is terrible. His stance is appalling.
Elbows up in the air.
Now, I see the thing as well. Let's not be critical, but the American Q Sports, they don't have the same technique as snooker players. But you don't have to have the same technique. It's not quite as
You don't need a Rolls Royce Q action.
You don't need that Rolls Royce. But even then, it's poor even for their sort of standards.
Sam misses the shot, and Lester says that Sam just bought him a new Cadillac,
which causes an oh boy to escape.
And the credits to roll.
And when we return, we are told it's when...
September the 4th, 1954. And I think we're in Chicago. We're never explicitly told that, but I figured that out, I think, during the course of the episode.
Yeah, well, it's referenced. The name is referenced.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, we'll get to that shortly.
Okay. I remember Al saying that you could get the bus to Peoria or the train to Peoria, which made me think it must be Chicago.
a few moments they actually mention it.
Oh, fair enough then. So, there's a singer performing in this pool hall, and...
Yeah, this seems unlikely. There's a band on stage.
Yes.
She's quite sultry.
Indeed.
I've been in an awful lot of pool halls. Okay, not black pool halls in the 1950s America, but I've been in a lot of pool halls. They tend to be sort of, the lower end of the
well,
the
we come to learn that she's trying to transition this venue from a pool hall into a blues club.
Fair enough, but what I would do is I would close it down, take away the pool tables, close it down, reopen as a refurbished, rebranded establishment.
You understand? She's trying to retain the clientele, maybe.
You don't know if you're. I'm not sure that it's the same clientele that you want. These old people come in for a game of pool and spend ages with one drink.
Yeah.
Gambling. They're just gamblers. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not. That isn't great business sense.
Well,
we'll get to that anyway.
Yeah, we will. She's performing anyway, and Sam's friend, who I think we learned is called Grady.
Yeah, he's another older man.
He's got a bit of a stammer, and he tells the guy Lester that Sam, or after getting permission from Sam, he reveals that Sam is Charlie Black Magic Walters, the world's greatest pool player. And essentially...
No, this is the part here. It says the world's greatest pool player, including Chicago.
Okay. And essentially what he does here is hustle him without playing any more pool. He makes it clear to this guy Lester that he's about to get hustled and lose all his money, so therefore leave with the money you've got and don't take any of my money. So Sam's lost this bet but doesn't have to pay up.
Yeah.
Because he convinces this guy that he's about to lose more than he's just won. So he is persuaded essentially to cut his losses before he makes them.
Sure.
It's a bit...
It's an odd way of doing it.
Yeah, well, it works. The guy's impressed and also seems to know a lot about Sam's reputation.
Yeah. Now, as this is going on, we see Sam take a look in the mirror, and I think it's unfortunate, but he does look a bit like Bill Cosby.
Okay. The singer at this point comes over and chastises them for the noise that they're making, and then we get this resolution with Lester, who initially offers another $500 to play him straight up, but is persuaded to leave and has a quick conversation where he goes through Sam or Charlie's history, asking if did he really beat this guy there or that guy here, and Sam has to improvise a little bit, but he gets through the conversation and Lester leaves before another guy.
Well, wait a second. There's a little bit of a little bit of trivia here. He talks about beating Teddy Fantastic and Moscone.
Well, you know about Moscone.
Yes. Well, it's the Ryder Cup of pool these days, Europe versus the USA. I was at the final in Alexandria Palace last year. Good night for the final.
Moscone Cup.
Moscone Cup, yeah. Named after this fellow here.
So what about the other one, Serial 2?
Don't know.
You didn't bother looking into that one?
Teddy Fantastic sounds made up.
Well, yes.
Garbage name.
What name will make him sound like he's good at pool? Yeah. Teddy Terrible? No.
Maybe it's just like the way you call a wee guy like Big Man.
Well, it could be his nickname, like Black Magic is Charlie's nickname. He's maybe called Teddy Fantastic when he's playing pool. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is maybe it's a bit of sarcasm.
Oh, well, it could be ironic.
Yeah, like the fat guy who's called Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's so terrible they call him Teddy Fantastic.
Well, we had that a moment ago, actually. I wouldn't talk about it, but when the guy asks if Sam's really Black Magic, they say he's Fats Domino, but he's slowed down, or slimmed down, or not fat, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Domino doing the twist or whatever it was.
That was Chubby Checker.
Was it what is it? Fats Domino done it was something similar.
Because Chubby Checker's inspired by Fats Domino, that's where his name comes from.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anyway, where are we?
We've kind of jumbled our way through this scene, but Lester's left, And this other guy, Eddie, is getting a little bit chippy.
Yeah, well, at first he laughs as he defends his actions to Violet, who is not happy with him encouraging what is going on, but he claims that he's only trying to make a living and asks Sam to agree that everyone gambles.
Yeah, I think he makes out that he's lost money on this last game, which means he won't be able to buy her earrings, which she's not interested in anyway.
No. Sam says that he was thinking of stopping playing pool for money, which is not what Eddie wants to hear, and he says he can't do that until he plays him.
Indeed, and they've got this set up apparently. And this guy Grady says that Sam's going to whoop him, but he's insulted in return, and Violet has to step in and tell Eddie to take a walk.
Yeah, I think she says to beat it. But Eddie is angered by this and reminds her,
in a wonderful bit of exposition, that he owns the marker on this place and that the money is due in just 2 days, and although she's done a good job turning it into a real nice uptown spot, it's going to be him that enjoys owning it.
And we also find out that it's not just the pool hall he's interested in, because she asks, why are you hanging around? It's not due until another 2 days, and he says, well, it's not the only thing that I'm here for. And I think he goes to sort of grab at her arm and she swipes this away.
Indeed.
This sort of reminded me of All Americans.
Okay.
If you remember the landlord, and he was
2 days to pay, that sort of thing. Yeah, makes sense.
And he was obviously trying to get other favours from, was it Chewy's mom?
No doubt. Yes, instead of having to pay the rent.
Yeah. Anyway, he leaves laughing with his sidekick, and Grady tries to assure the worried Violet that Sam will ensure this never happens, which he unconvincingly has to agree to.
Yeah, and both Violet and Grady comment that Sam's eyes look different at this stage.
Now, is this a reference to Sam being Sam and he can sort of see his real persona?
It's probably this glaucoma or something that they can actually see. She gives him a kiss on the cheek and says she loves him. I think she refers to him as Poppy.
Yeah.
So this is where we learn that she's his granddaughter.
So she should be safe.
You would think.
And at this point, we see Al for the first time.
He is amazed.
He is in awe of Alberta, who is
the stick,
the cue that he seems to know an awful lot about, including that it was named for his wife. And as Grady goes to put it back in its case, Sam signals to Al to join him in the men's room for a chat, causing him to remark that, what?
It's disgusting, and why can't they meet in the ladies' room for once?
So we find ourselves in the gents, where, alone with Al, Sam is able to find out that he knew magic 40 years ago, and that he had a major impact on his life, and he was even able to hold Alberta.
Al, I've never seen you so excited about anything. I mean, this is just a pool cue. It's not like it's a woman.
Okay, when I was 10 years old, I ran away from the orphanage. After a couple of days, I was cold, I was scared, I was lonely. I got so desperate, I even tried to pick a guy's pocket.
Black magics?
Right. Now, he didn't turn me into the cops. He fed me. He bought me a jacket. He said to me that kids shouldn't be in orphanages, that a kid should be raised by a family, and I should travel with him until we could find one. Well, I did. We drifted around together, went to Chi, went to St. Louis, went to the Big Easy where he got busted for shooting pool in a whites-only pool hall.
And you ended up back in the orphanage.
Well, it wasn't his fault.
I wasn't implying that it was.
No, I'm sorry, Sam. It's just that those few months were real important in my life. He turned me around, that old guy. He showed me that there were people in the world who really cared. That's why you gotta help him, Sam.
Al, I'm gonna help him.
The only problem is Eddie Davis, a slimeball pool shark that Magic has never played because, well, he doesn't shoot pool with trash.
Eddie implied that Magic has a game with him.
Well, Violet borrowed some money from a loan shark. She was going to change this old pool hall into a blues club. And Eddie bought her marker, and that's what he's putting up to make this match with Magic.
It's an expensive way to get a pool game.
Well, it is if you lose, but Eddie doesn't figure to lose. See, he knows that Magic's eyesight is gone. But what he doesn't know is that your eyesight is 20/20.
Al, look, my eyes may be fine, but I couldn't shoot a game of pool with a shotgun.
Well, you're going to have to learn, or else Violet's dream is lost. And Magic won't ever forgive himself for not coming through for his granddaughter, and I'll never forgive myself for not coming through for Magic.
I don't understand the stakes in this match.
Okay.
So if Sam wins.
Mhm.
Eddie writes off the debt and Violet owns the bar outright.
Yes.
If Eddie wins,
Uh-huh.
he takes over ownership of the bar because the debt's not paid.
Yeah.
But that would be the situation even if they didn't have a match.
No, because she might be able to pay it off. This is how basically they're playing for the deeds, as it were. So if not, yeah, that's an assumption that she can't pay.
Yeah. Which
but
we
she
find
might-
out is the case.
Yeah, but he doesn't necessarily know that she can't pay.
So she's not even going to try to pay. That's the stake.
Oh, I don't think she can.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't seem like they're risking a lot. That they're no worse off if they lose than if they don't play. Sam and Violet.
yeah. Although I suppose that, I don't know, the marker, if she put up the bar as, she just borrowed, but if she put the bar up actually as collateral, I mean, how's
I
he
don't
going
know
to
how it
actually
works.
take it over? It might well be that you owe me this, you owe me more money, and the vig, as they say, the interest might just keep going up. I don't know if he's necessarily at this point before the game is going to get the bar, or
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, we get a good exterior shot of some public transport going through the city, and then I think it's the next morning, and Sam comes into the pool hall, which is lit a bit differently.
Yeah, he's in a chipper mood. And yeah, I think what's happening is Violet's working on the lighting, the lamp over his own sort of personal table as he tells her about his new plan.
Yes, well, he doesn't tell her because before he can, Grady shows up, and he has a problem with what Violet is doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about this. Grady thinks that, this is a traditional lamp and this is where he's won all these matches in the past and they shouldn't touch it.
It's
But
a piece of history.
what I thought was going to happen, and it's referenced a few times about Sam's eyes,
Right.
and I thought that they would put this new lamp on and that would somehow, illuminate it and give him enough vision to be able to play, but it's never...
Well, Sam's vision's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's not...
It's not the
we
vision that's
discussed
the
this
actual issue, yeah. Anyhow, Violet says this is old and worn, but Grady says, so am I, you're not getting rid of me, are you? Which is not the best analogy. But anyhow, Sam persuades Violet to just leave the old light in place.
So after this has been settled, she reminds him about this plan he was going to divulge, which the returning Al is also keen to hear. And so he reveals it. What is it?
Just borrow it from a bank. It'll be fine.
Get a bank loan which you can then use to repay Eddie. This obviously disappoints her as she mentions that they've already tried that, and Al advises him to forget this as she's a young single black woman in 1954 who would not impress the white male bankers. I think that's probably still an issue today.
Well, no doubt. But once again, this is Sam with no concept of how life is for other people, or at least not even thinking about it.
Yeah,
He could get a loan.
He
So-
naively says, "Oh, you're not a black young woman. You're a business person with a going concern." It's like, yeah, that's all very well, in an ideal
Yeah,
world,
how
but
things should be, so therefore
that's
they will
not
be.
going to happen.
No.
This is obviously laughed at by her and Grady, and I think he's into a bit of a sulk.
Sam does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says the really crazy thing is to risk everything on a game of pool, which makes them think he's not confident.
That's true. That I think they believe his eyesight is the reason for this lack of confidence, and he's got a point that playing for pool. But I think that if you are the world's greatest, whether or not it's accurate, but if you're the world's greatest pool player up there,
Yeah.
I would rather take my chances with you in a game
A game of skill, yeah.
game of skill than going to trying to get some white bankers to give you money at this stage.
He says his eyes are fine anyway and asks where the bank is, and they say it's just over there.
Again, he doesn't think to consider that you would probably know where these, where did you say I live again?
We then are in the bank where Sam asks a woman anyway.
Well, sorry, but before we get there, this is the thing. Why did they take the loan from Eddie in the first place?
Because she couldn't get a bank loan.
Okay, that's right.
And it's
That's
not from Eddie, they took it from someone else, and Eddie's bought the loan.
fine, okay. But point remains, she took a loan. Has she not done the maths and I need to repay this? It doesn't matter if it's a backstreet loan shark. You have to do the maths and go, okay, can we afford this? If not, what are you doing taking the loan in the first place? Because we find out that since it's been opened, it's been doing great business. So this is at its peak. It's not like, if you just give me a few more days, I'll. She says shortly here.
Yeah, what was her plan when she took the loan?
Yeah, you have to pay this back or you get your legs broken. You're doing the deal here. And to an extent, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, wait, so now what you're going to do is you're going to try and cheat Eddie. Sam's going to cheat Eddie out of a legitimate arrangement that he's got himself into. I've taken over the loan. You've borrowed. You know what you're getting yourself into. You owe this money.
Yeah.
Now that shouldn't be the case. She should be able to go to a legitimate bank, but the point remains, she must have done the calculations and went, "This is what I need to repay." Has she not worked that out? If she can do it or not? Because if she can, then just pay him back.
Yeah. Anyway, that doesn't happen.
We're
They go to the bank.
Yeah, they're now dressed up, and Sam and Violet enter the place, and I think the sort of receptionist secretary is told they're there about a business loan, which she is obviously not impressed by.
She tries to fob them off by saying that all the loan officers are busy, which annoys Sam, who can see that they're just sitting there.
Filing their nails and picking their teeth and things like that, yeah. So Sam points this out, and the clearly irritated woman reluctantly advises him to see Mr. Griffin
Out the back.
Well, not at the back. Is it the back of the back of the room? No, just the back of the room. Same room. And so they sit in front of Griffin, who himself is black, but no more accommodating than anyone else.
Well, no, he's got a reputation to protect.
Yeah, but we'll chat about this in a moment. What we think of his position.
He's working hard to pull the ladder up behind himself.
Well, exactly. He explains first of all that they don't do loans in pool halls. Now, from a business point of view, a commercial point of view, I'm going to have to be agreeing to an extent with the bank here, leaving
Risky
aside.
business.
It's a very people won't want to do pool halls and even bars and pubs.
Yeah, they go bust all the time.
Of course they do. And styles change. Sometimes at a bar or a pub, especially what she's saying, we're opened and it's like it's mobbed.
Yeah.
But it can become like untrendy very quickly. A new bar opens up in town and suddenly that's the place to be.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that, unless you've got a massive background and a history of operating these type of establishments, that banks, even today, no matter what your background, your colour is looked on as a very risky venture. So I've no particular
Qualm with this.
qualm at them not wanting to loan to this type of place.
Yeah, no, I think it's not a terrible decision, but his attitude's a little bit off.
They try to talk him round by explaining that it's going to be at a blues club, not with just a single table. Again, you're not.
He's not swung by that at all.
No, a blues club, okay, that's not risky at all. And you've got to keep a table, you're not really fully committed to it. There's got to be a pool table where another seated table could be, I suppose.
I like the fact they then say it's been really busy since we opened, like he's meant to take that on face value. They've got no books or statements or cash flow or anything like that. It's just, it's been really busy.
Yeah, but he makes the point we've made. He turned around and said, well, why do you need a loan then?
Yeah.
And I think she begins to explain, but her answers trail away. She realises it doesn't sound good.
Yes, a loan to repay a loan.
Yeah, a loan shark. Sam tries to make him see that they have a genuine need, and although he claims he would like to help, he won't. I don't blame him here at this point.
Yeah.
Purely.
He basically says, I can't be seen to be giving out freebies or things that the business wouldn't normally approve just because it's to black people.
Yeah, I think at this point he leans forward conspiratorially and describes precisely why, with the use of the N-word, he won't jeopardise his own career. And so realising that they've no chance, Violet stands and basically calls him an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, well, she calls him a white man.
Yeah.
And he looks a bit chastised, but clearly accepts that he is indeed a sellout.
And as he hangs his head a little bit, Sam leaves and tells him of his responsibility for those who have not yet made it. So that's a dilemma I'd like to get your thoughts on.
Yeah.
On one hand, it's tough enough if you're in that position back then. You're just looking after your own responsibility. Everyone can't be an activist. Everyone can't be the hero. These times, you could be in poverty if you don't have this job. So you're just, grateful. So do you blame that person when he's got that job not to jeopardise his entire career for someone else?
Yeah, then you have to think that he probably isn't the final word. He could say, okay, this sounds like a good investment to me, and the bank's manager might say, no, I'm not funding that.
Yeah.
But then, I suppose on the other hand, you would probably want him to at least apply an equal standard. Like if he would have approved it for a white applicant, he should be approving it for them. Yeah,
but he didn't say that he wasn't approving it because they were black. No. He just says it's a risky business. And
and their approach is ridiculous. They just walked into a bank and said, give us some money. They've got they need to come in with like ledgers and a business plan and some kind of evidence that the business is performing well, not just their word for it.
No.
It's crazy.
And as I said as well, in the back of a few months opening, that can change. And the next club opens up down the street, changes all that overnight.
Yeah, and if the bank ends up losing whatever money that this loan would be, then he's out of a job.
Yeah, so Sam's talking nonsense here. It's far more likely that they'll keep the bar if, the world's greatest pool player turns up.
Yeah, that's it. So Sam runs out after Violet has stormed off and suggests they go to a different bank.
Why does he not understand what's going on here? I mean, he needs to know the environment, the conditions.
He must understand that this would be humiliating for her.
I've got zero chance of this.
No.
And she's forced to point out that if they can't even get a loan from a black banker, I mean, what other chances do they have?
Yeah, she's got a new idea though.
What's that?
She's just going to offer herself up to Eddie.
Apparently, he's been after her since she was 13, which it might be fine if he's also of the same age.
Yeah, hard to know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's maybe at least 10 years older.
So we cut to a little later where she's glammed up and she enters the pool hall where Eddie is playing, and all the guys there, their eyes pop out and stalks like cartoons as she implements this plan of hers.
Hot tonight, Eddie?
That depends on what game I'm playing.
The one I have in mind is pretty old.
Yeah, I think I know that one. I've been waiting a long time to play it. I'm just wondering why you want to play it now.
Maybe I decided it's the only game worth playing.
Magic. Come with quick.
What's the matter?
It's Miss Violet. But she's kind of sick.
I've been waiting a long time for this, baby. A long time.
Magic, let go of her.
Be cool. Magic? You been eating onions again?
Stay away from my granddaughter.
I wasn't taking nothing that wasn't being offered. And I got the feeling it was being offered because you turned chicken, Magic.
You see any feathers on me?
Does that mean we got a game?
Papa, you can't play him. Your eyes are bad.
Is that true, Magic?
There's only one way to find out.
Rack 'em.
Not yet. Marker's not due until tomorrow, and that's what we're playing for, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we're playing for.
Grady, at this point, tells Eddie that Sam's going to clean his clock, but Eddie plays a miracle shot to give them something to think about on his way out the door.
The reaction to the guys when she enters reminds me of when Faye Dunaway went into the pub in Columbo.
Yeah, or pretty much half the Looney Tunes episodes.
Yeah, steam coming out ears and things like that. So we return to the pool hall. I was a little bit confused a few times in this episode because is that the same? Is this Eddie's pool hall? Is it the same pool hall? Because sometimes
There's only one pool hall.
Is there? Yeah.
It's just shot from different angles. There's different things going on.
Okay. In any case, Violet, she sings at the piano as Sam struggles with the basics of pool and asks Al how he is going to become a pool shark overnight. Clearly he's not.
No, I like the opening shot here in this scene when they came in on the mirror above the table. So you saw Charlie's reflection at the top of his head, and then it panned down and it was Sam at the table.
It's a good shot, yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were going to get a training montage here. We didn't really.
No, we get a montage later on, but
We do.
As expected. Al thinks Sam can do it by listening to him as he was taught by the best and then tries to show him how to make a bridge. This is nonsense.
Yeah, and also Sam's observations pointless as well.
What's that?
He's like, well, you were taught by magic and I am magic, so it's like,
Yeah. No, not at all.
Al quite rightly says, shut up.
Yeah.
Let's just get on with learning.
It's like some of the best. I mean, Ronnie O'Sullivan, the greatest snooker player, I could, spend a week with him, and no doubt it would improve slightly, but you wouldn't be anywhere near.
No.
You couldn't.
Quite rightly also, Sam doesn't get to that level here either.
He doesn't.
No.
He's
Well,
terrible.
and he doesn't improve.
But even the solution that we talk about here, I know it's only a TV show, but that wouldn't work either.
No?
Nah.
Yeah, because you still have to execute the shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's like you don't playing across the ball and
Full English.
all that sort of stuff. And it's the it's the touch.
Yeah.
when you try to
finesse
put
the power and stuff.
and when you put on spin and all that, if deflects, the angle of the ball changes. It comes down to experience, and it's not about hitting the ball there, because even as as snooker or pool players, everyone can see. You line up the shot and you go, okay, that's the angle, that's where I need to hit it, and then you try it and you don't do it because you don't put the cue doesn't go through in a straight line, etc. Or where you have to play a screw shot. Anyway, we'll leave that.
Violet tells Sam to take a break and come and sit with her at the piano. And at this point, he assumes that this guy can play the piano.
Stay in character. He proceeds to sit beside her, and they sing before she joins in. Yeah, so
some kind of gospel-y sort of song, I think.
He assumes that Magic is able to play the piano and sing in this style.
That would be thoroughly bizarre if he couldn't. He's just sitting down and playing competent piano.
I think the chances of him playing it, because Sam would find out as a concert level pianist. Yeah. So, the chances of what Magic being at that level or playing this stuff, I think this is very unlikely.
And if they wanted this, they could easily have done a bit where Al's talking about them touring the country and he says, and he would play the piano and we would sing and stuff like that. There's one line earlier on that would set this up.
Yeah.
Instead, it now just seems like Sam's just gone out in a leap.
Or else she starts and says, come on, join in with me. Or, she leads him.
Set it up somehow. Anyway, he asks if she's feeling blue, and she says she is, but it's good for the singing.
Yeah.
And they get into this more upbeat song before she leaves, and Al gets back to teaching Sam some pool and says it's all about geometry, as we heard at the top of the show.
Which he is initially not fazed about, because he's obviously very clued up in all things geometrical. But he quickly has to accept that it takes years to learn how to apply this theory in practice, as we said. But Al suddenly comes up with a cunning plan.
They're going to cheat.
Yeah, he whips out his device and is able to project the right angles onto the correct angles. Yep, onto the cue ball, which enables him to pot things. But no.
It certainly seems to give him confidence, because we get a Reservoir Dogs style entrance to the pool hall for Sam a wee bit later on. Yeah,
it's a slow motion montage of them arriving and setting up with the appropriate soundtrack.
He greets Eddie and opts for a game of 9-ball because he's told by Al, I think, that was always Charlie's favourite game.
I didn't understand Eddie here. Eddie asks him what he wants to play, and he says, and Al says, tell him 9-ball. So he says 9-ball, and then they pull back the...
Yeah, and Eddie's outraged that it's set up for 9-ball.
You asked him. Why didn't you, we'll toss for it?
How did you know I was going to offer you the...
But that makes no difference, even if it wasn't set up.
He could have changed it,
yeah. In any case, they play the lag to discover who is going to break off.
Al says he can't help Sam with this, so obviously he's not helping him with weight of shot.
No, which is half. Angles is only a very small percentage.
Yeah.
You have to bring the cue ball into the right area, which is all about the strength of the shot that you play. So anyway, Sam, there's a bit of luck involved in this, and he manages to win. So with Al's assistance, they break off, from which he manages to sink the 9-ball and win the first frame or game, as they say.
For anyone who doesn't know the rules, if you put the 9-ball, you win, unless you foul in the process.
We then have a pool montage where Sam is holding his own and things are going fine until they aren't.
Uh-oh.
Who's he talking to?
It's cute.
What's it saying?
What's going on? You're gonna have to stall. Because she says that there's an energy drain. The Pentagon is usurping our power supply.
For how long?
Hey, Magic. Come on. This isn't a seance.
Shut up, Eddie. Poppy can talk to whoever he wants to.
It's gonna take a while, Sam. They must be working on their vacation plans or something. I'm gonna go work on it. You stall.
need to take a break.
No breaks.
If the old man wants to kick back for a minute, it's fine with me. As high as he's shooting, let him take a break. Maybe he'll cool off.
Sam tells Violet that he needs to go splash some water in his eyes, and meanwhile he leaves Alberta in Grady's capable hands.
And at this point, Eddie tells his henchman to make sure that he runs cold from now on by damaging his cue. I think the henchman was...
at first he was going to go and kill Sam, wasn't he?
Yeah. And then we see creepy, dopey Grady talking to Alberta like a woman before accepting this sidekick's word that Sam wants to speak with him in the alley. He's an idiot.
Oh, completely.
I walk...
In the alley?
Yeah, why?
But he's in the bathroom.
No. He passed a message on, he says to tell you. Oh, right, no problem.
Who he hates to tell me.
I'll just go and put the queue... No, he says bring the queue outside. It wants a bit of air.
Hold on while I just go and do exactly what you say.
Idiot. So we're in the alley, and it takes a moment for him to realise that he's been tricked, because
even after he turned around and the guy says the noise in the bathroom, he's like, oh, I said he was...
Uh-oh. Now, I want to ask you at this point, and I'll refer back to it in a moment. You sometimes see this type of thing in movies with these bad guys, these sort of cartoon characters. How does this plan work in reality? So he gets out there and he smashes up his cue, and it's like, oh, Sam can't play now. But this is we've got an audience and a crowd here.
Yeah.
If he gets back in and says, you just smashed up my cue, like, the audience would be on your side, and then you'd say, I'm not paying you this bet, and you'd have all these witnesses who would agree. These type of bets, it's all about it's confidence in your peers and other people. You have to. So if he walks back in, the old man walks back in and says, he beat me up, smashed my cue, I'm not sure you get away with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, he takes a deserved beating for his nonsense.
He does, really does. And then the thug, who I think we learn is called, we don't learn, but is called the Brush.
In the credits, yeah.
He takes Alberta, and when Sam comes running out, having heard from the bathroom window what was going on, he first of all tends to Grady.
Well, did we say that he snapped?
Well, he doesn't snap it until after Sam's there.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, he tells him to hand it over, but instead it's snapped in two, and then Sam is pushed into the garbage.
Yes, but Sam doesn't take that lying down.
No, he retaliates and gives him a beating.
Using the cue.
Yeah, which like sort of nunchucks or whatever it is, which shocks and delights Grady in equal measure.
It does. And then Grady gets his hat back.
Yeah.
And they head back inside where Eddie...
So I'm going to do this again. I know it's getting boring, but I'm going to do this again, right? Sam beats up this massive guy because he's got his own strength. He's Sam's strength, right? He's not an old man.
Yes.
And yet, he's expected to be like a heavyweight boxer. Sam's not a heavyweight.
Well, that's it, yeah.
So
inconsistency.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Let's move on.
Yes, they go back inside then, and Eddie reckons Sam might, before they arrive, tells Violet he thinks Sam might be quitting.
But she rises with a start when the two old men re-enter, and she sees that something has happened.
Yeah, she's concerned for Grady, but he says he's okay, and he can fix Alberta, but not in time to finish this game.
So Sam tells him to go and select another cue. The cue shouldn't make any difference.
No, yeah, he's not played with it before. and it doesn't, so that's okay. Eddie makes a sarcastic comment about whether Sam's had an accident.
Until he points to his boy, and Grady mentions that Sam whooped him silly, just like he's going to do to him.
So then Grady pulls out his own pool cue and hands it to Sam, telling him it's called Bathsheba.
Yeah, he pulls it from a rack, mind you, like a public.
That's where he keeps it.
Not very safe if it's your own personal cue, which he talks to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says he can talk to her and she will listen. Can we have stop this nonsense?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Causing Eddie to ask if he's going to shoot or hold a baptism. I quite like that.
Yeah. It's a bit like when you watch the golfers and they hit the ball and they're shouting, go left. It's like, I can't hear you. It's a ball. You hit it there.
Yeah. Sam eventually bends over the shot and is surprised. Oh, did we discuss what stage we were at in this game?
Did we even mention that Al had to disappear at the end of the montage? I think we didn't.
Okay. Why did he have to?
So the reason that we've got this whole episode is that Ziggy ran out of power and he's been trying to stall until Al can return, but Eddie at this point is accusing him of stalling. He gets back up one more time from the shot to chalk his cue, and when he goes down, sort of resigned to having to play it, Al returns with his lines.
Yeah, he's managed to get these angles projected again, but he's anxious for him to hurry up as he's only 2 minutes of power available.
Yeah, Sam makes the first shot to tie it up at 6-all, and obviously they're playing to 7, so he's only got one more rack to get through.
He manages to pot a few off the break, and things are looking good until he snookers himself in the pocket when on the 9-ball, which will require a 3-cushion escape.
He's frankly lucky that he didn't scratch it.
Yes, very lucky.
That's the skill that Ziggy can't help you with. He's hit it too hard.
Yeah. However, Sam's quite confident. He's got Gushy, he's got the angles all lined up, but just at the vital moment,
the 2 minutes are up.
The power disappears, as do the lines, and he's an idiot here. He had it all lined up. Instead of
just don't stand up. Keep playing it.
Stay down in the shot. You can visualise you only need that first line.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about the rest of it.
No, but he goes, oh, they've went out, and he stands up, but obviously losing sort of track of where he should be aiming.
Yeah. So Eddie and Brush Guy think there's no chance that Sam will make this shot, but we see him calculate the angles.
He's been given a hint. He knows roughly where he should be playing this.
More or less.
Mm-hmm.
And then in slow motion, we see the ball come off the cushions, 1, 2, 3, and then it hits a 4th cushion before clipping the 9-ball, which drops, and Sam has won.
Yes, and after a brief celebration, Violet stalks over to Eddie to demand her marker, which after he looks around, I think he's not keen on handing it over, but again,
the pure pressure
talking
there.
about that social pressure, which is why I think that if Grady had walked in with the broken cue and says, look what he done to me,
yeah,
there'd be, people would say, no, that's not on, you can't be doing this.
Yeah, so she tears this marker up when he hands it over and then bars him from the club, but this causes him to change character completely and become, well, maybe not, but to reveal his actual underlying character, I would imagine, is probably fairer.
He goes to attack her. However, he is shocked when her old grandfather steps in and overpowers him and orders him out.
He takes his cue from him, but instead of breaking it in retaliation, he simply unscrews it and tells him that his granddaughter has asked him to leave. So Eddie takes his stick and walks out with his thug, and Sam and Violet embrace.
And at this point, Sam leaps
onto a trapeze, and we see a woman launch herself towards him.
Yeah, he finds himself swinging upside down and expected to catch her.
And we'll find out what happens next week. So the first question I'd written down, we've touched on some of these points, is as a snooker and pool fan who's been to the Moscone Cup itself, how do you feel about Sam's blatant cheating here?
What, you mean using the angles? Yeah, I said that before. Eddie, whilst a dodgy character,
he's playing by the rules.
He's playing by his rules of the street. She took a loan, and now he's about to be cheated.
Yeah, he's been conned by a guy who can't play pool.
Mm-hmm. Although I would suggest that in reality, he would have a better chance against Sam with these angles than against a real world-class pool player
who can't see anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I've said it again, we've talked about this, thankfully Sam was related to the only woman in the episode.
Yeah, just get a breather from that sort of nonsense from him.
I felt like the whole thing with the bank wasn't really necessary. I don't think it really added anything. We've done the whole racism thing a few times.
Well, yeah, we didn't mention it, but this is another heavily race-based episode.
Yeah, but there was no racism because everybody was black until they went to the bank.
Yeah, it didn't have to overcome racism in this episode, but it was
mentioned. Al mentioned it as well, talking about Magic getting into trouble for shooting in a whites-only pool hall and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just my opinion. Maybe some folk like that scene, I don't know. I don't think it added anything.
I think what it might have done is put it in to break up the fact it was always in the pool hall.
Yeah,
no other
get them out of there for a minute or two, Yeah, okay. Overall, I quite liked it. I thought it was quite similar to Right Hand of God in the first season.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was more of a season 1 type episode, I felt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I love a pool-based movie, whether it be The Hustler or the Colour of Money, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a good Sledgehammer episode based around pool hustling as well. And I enjoy the sport. You always see, however, in these in the movies and the TV shows, every shot's a trick shot. But in reality,
you just play. You're not potting the 9-ball off the break either.
Well, occasionally you do, but not often.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it a few times. Yeah,
have you?
Golden Break. Yeah.
I mean, I know you were doing your research because you were sending me pool videos during the week.
Yeah, I think that was a coincidence. I got them recommended to me. I thought they were quite fun. But yeah, so no, I enjoyed the setting and enjoyed the theme. As you say, it felt like a season 1 episode. What I've came to realise, I think, is that my experience with Quantum Leap is basically season 1. I don't think I've seen this episode before.
Right.
And I think there's a few that I know are coming up, but I've seen most of season 1, and apart from an occasional one,
Yeah.
season 2's passed me by, so
Yeah, well, like I said, I came to it a bit later, so the early ones, these ones are not ones that I'm familiar with.
sure.
Any other thoughts before we get into the trivia?
No.
Okay. Aired on the 14th of March, 1990. Directed by Joe Napolitano. This is his first, but he would go on to do a further 11.
That sounds like a fake name for an Italian type name for if you're a
Give me an
gangster.
Italian name.
Yeah.
It's not a type of pizza. He also directed episodes of shows like The X-Files, Murder One, which I keep telling you to watch, Ally McBeal, Dawson's Creek, amongst others. He actually attended the original Woodstock Festival, and he was an amateur astronomer, and he died at the age of 67 in 2016. This was the first of 2 scripts from Randy Holland.
I like that name.
That's a sort of pool player, 10-pin bowler type name, isn't it?
I'm wondering, sorry, just before you get into that, I'm wondering if the character of Grady, there was a real life pool player who was in the Colour of Money as well, called Grady Seasons or something. I don't know if it was a reference to that.
Could be. I'm not sure. Randy Holland was mostly a soap writer. He wrote for The Young and the Restless, won an Emmy for that. He wrote for Days of Our Lives, and he wrote 80 episodes of a somewhat obscure 90s soap called The City. He was the story editor for this and the next 3 Quantum Leaps, but his last screenwriting credit was now 20 years ago.
Okay.
Violet was played by Shari Headley. This was her only Quantum Leap, but she appeared in shows like Miami Vice, Kojak and The Cosby Show, as well as both the film Coming to America and as the same character in the recent sequel.
Yeah, I recognised her from that.
Yeah, she's now 58. She's still active. Eddie was played by J.W. Smith.
That sounds like a newsagent.
This was his only Quantum Leap, but he's appeared on shows like Touched by an Angel, The X-Files, Knots Landing, as well as movies, including ones that you like, K9, The Warriors,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, which I think might be a satire.
Yes, good. It's funny. So, Touched by an Angel, that could be the type of thing that Sam would star in. He's almost
Touched by a Leaper. Grady was played by Teddy Wilson. This was the first of 2 Quantum Leap appearances, so we'll keep an eye out for him. Again, he also appeared in shows like MASH, The Golden Girls, The Twilight Zone. He died on my 10th birthday, 21st of July 1991, from a stroke. He was just 47. So that's only a year after.
Sorry, who?
Grady, so he was only 46.
No. Grady, his old best friend. The old man Grady.
That can't be right, can it?
Can't be, no chance.
Well, that's the information I have.
He's like, what is it?
He must be 70.
He's about, what, I don't know, he's about 15, 16 years younger than Brad Pitt.
Someone needs to look into this. That can't be right.
No, I think there's a typo there.
Maybe it was 74.
Yeah.
And it's been typed back to front. Let's just say that.
Yeah, let's hope so.
He was married to fellow actor Joan Pringle, who was in shows like Friends and Star Trek Enterprise and ER.
A tasty Joan Pringle.
Once you pop.
If that, yeah, she was younger, that would be her nickname.
She was recently in the Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. The Brush, the right-hand man, Eddie's right-hand man, he was played by Ken Foree, or Foray.
A cult figure.
The only Quantum Leap, but he's also been in things like TJ Hooker, The A-Team, Dallas, The X-Files, whole lot of other things. He's now 74.
No, what you're not mentioning what he's most famous for. I mean, like I said, he's a horror cult figure. Dawn of the Dead, Halloween 2007, From Beyond, Lords of Salem, amongst other things.
I've not seen those ones.
Have you not? No. I've got a little bit of trivia on him,
okay,
which proves my point here.
There you go.
In Shaun of the Dead, the shop where Simon Pegg works.
Yes.
The electronics shop.
Yeah, sort of.
Curry's
Tandy, sort of.
I think it's called Forey's Electronics or something.
Okay,
it's named after him, yeah.
That's good trivia. The banker Griffin was played by Robert Gossett. His only Quantum Leap, but he's also been in shows and movies like Batman Returns, Charmed, The Closer, and General Hospital. He's 68 now, still active.
Come on, a bit of trivia about him.
On you go.
Well, as soon as I seen his name, I thought, oh, must be a relative to Louis Gossett Jr.
And is he?
Yeah, cousin.
There you go. I've never heard of Louis Gossett Jr., so that's probably why I didn't know
where you go.
What was he in?
Officer and a Gentleman, most famous, probably. the drill sergeant, played against Richard Gere.
Military movies.
He was in. He was really good in a movie called. I liked it. A bit of a B movie, Midnight Sting. It's got a American title as well. A boxing Sting movie.
Right.
James Wood and Heather Graham.
Okay. Oh, not that.
Oliver Platt, I think.
I like him.
Yes.
Finally, we've got Annie Waterman, who played Miss White, the bank clerk. Miss White, the white lady in the bank. This was her only quantum leap. She's also appeared in shows like Melrose Place. She was in the Dr. Mabuse movies, and she was in one episode of Columbo.
Oh, which one?
She fell for the charms of Wayne Jennings in Murder in Malibu.
Right. I mean, no one can resist the charms of Wayne Jennings and his panties.
This episode won the Emmy for Outstanding Cinematography in a Series.
Okay.
The tie that the banker Griffin wears apparently is the same one Sam had on to marry Mashiko at the start of season 2.
Just went to the props drawer.
Yeah. The clock in the pool hall always reads 8:50.
Okay. Could
be a quirk, or maybe they just filmed them all at the same time.
Or stopped. Who's put it up? Yeah.
A stopped clock. I suppose you would need that for continuity. You wouldn't want it to always be moving on, and you're like, why is it jumping?
Yeah.
In terms of things we learned, Al left the orphanage at age 10, hung around with Charlie Black Magic Walters for a few months, travelling around the country before returning to the orphanage.
Yeah, I think that's all we learned.
Sam doesn't understand how finance works for people that aren't middle-class white guys.
Oh, just finance in general. Like you can't walk in and say, give me money. I've got a business.
I really want it, sir.
And it's been doing okay for 3 months.
Respective on this date, do you have anything?
The only thing I could find was that a chap called Peter Cortese from America achieved a one-arm deadlift of 370 pounds, which was triple his body weight.
Okay, well, the episode begins on the 4th of September, but it runs through the 5th into the 6th. And on the 5th of September 1954, KLM Flight 633 crashed on takeoff at Shannon Airport in Ireland into the nearby river, killing exactly half of the 56 people on board, and wasn't noticed by the airline authorities. The alarm was only raised when a survivor crossed marshland and ran to the airport over 2 hours later and told them, we've crashed.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay, next time, I'm not sure I'm laughing about that.
No, it's not funny.
It's a horrible tragedy.
Yeah. Oh, before we go, I came across, I'm not sure if you've heard of, I think it's from 2007. It's called Journeyman.
Uh-huh.
And it's about a chap who does Sam Beckett style leaps. It's Kevin McKidd from Trainspotting.
Oh, the Scottish guy, yeah.
Scottish guy, yeah. But
he's in one of the American shows, like Grey's Anatomy or something like that.
Okay. Sure, so he was in this and plays an American in it. His accent's a bit dodgy. But yeah, so I'd never heard of it. I think I've watched the first half hour, only found it the other night. It gets very, very good IMDb reviews. The rating on that, I think, is in the 8s maybe.
Oofed. So far too good for the likes of us.
But one of the reviews was it's a sort of modern take on Quantum Leap. So
there you go. I wonder what the new Quantum Leap is then. Postmodern take on Quantum Leap. Okay, next week we have Leaping In Without a Net, not the most subtle of titles, where Sam has to overcome a fear to save a life. So we will see you in 1958.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye.